Well, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to JJ's PC Builds. You know, this is JJ with you once again. If you're your first time here, make sure you subscribe. I'm sorry the microphone's going to be a little bit away from my mouth. If you can't really hear me, just leave me a comment below so that way I know what's going on. Okay, if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. And all my veteran subscribers and my new subscribers. I want to get to the new subscribers. My new subscribers, welcome to the family. Welcome to JJ's PC Builds. And my veteran subscribers, much love to you. Thank you for all you do and watching the videos beginning to end, helping support the channel. Now, we're all here today for the simple fact I told y'all that we were going to start by looking into the build for, this next build here that I'm going to be doing. Let me bring you down a little bit so that way you all can see what I got cooking here. And if y'all can't see what I got cooking, I will take and turn my light around and make sure y'all can see. Okay, so this way we'll try to get the brightness. And I sorry about the light that's a little bit bright there, but I want you all to be able to see what's cooking, what I got going. So bear with me. It is I'm doing something in the dark, basically. So, but anyway, I told y'all I was going to take the Ryzen 5 5600G right here. Ryzen 5 5600G. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add it to this motherboard, which is the Asus Tough Gaming B-550 Plus Wi-Fi 2. This is going to be the motherboard that's going to be going into the new build. I'm preparing the motherboard for the build. So this way, I get a step ahead when I get ready to go and do it. Because I want to make sure that, for the I can't believe I dropped the processor. No, hopefully it's not bent pins or anything else. You know how that goes, right? I know you guys can't see that well, and I do apologize for it. One day I'm going to get a ring light that goes over the top here, so that way y'all can see a little bit better, so y'all ain't looking in the dark so much. But this is just a preliminary testing, and I'm going to use the Wraith cooler, the AMD Wraith cooler, with this. Hopefully y'all can see it. There. The Wraith cooler that came with the processor. So now let's go ahead and flick up the arm here. Make sure we got good armature. Okay, so now we're going to take the processor that I got in my hand and we're going to put it right here in the build. Now we're just going to have to make sure that it seats correctly, because we don't want it to not seat correctly. And I know how that goes. Always double check with the flashlight to make sure, if you can't see, make sure that it's seating down. And the name of it right here, you got the name of it. Make sure it's pointing forward towards the bar that tells you the name of the slot. That where the arm lifts up, where the name of the slot is. Everybody says, oh yeah, just look at the little dinky triangle that's on there and match it with the triangle that's on the socket. So don't forget the golden triangle the processor, there's a little one and a big one. You want the little one to match with the one that's at the top of the socket. So, depends on which way you look at the board. It's always going to be at the top right. And the name's always going to be facing up towards the RAM. If you can't remember, it's always facing up towards the RAM. So, now we got that in. Now let's go ahead and take this Wraith cooler. Let me turn that off. Let's take this Wraith cooler. Let's go ahead and put that on top of that. This cooler has never been out of the box. And the thermal paste is, see, you're going to have thermal paste that's already on it. Okay, so since it's brand new and it has not been, here, let me set this off right here for a minute. Get this box closed up, get all your stuff. Always try to keep your items together. You know, when you go and put in your new processor, always remember you have a factory warranty, and you have, you know, if you got a warranty for if you got a warranty by the place of purchase, and you got a factory warranty, always remember, keep everything together, because when it comes time, if something messes up, you want to be able to have that moment to where, you know, you can say, well, hey, can I send it back and get a RMA on it and get a return, you know, and they're going to ask you, do you have all the stuff for the boxes? So do remember, always, here, let me point you up towards me. Always remember, keep your stuff with your boxes. It's very, very, very important. You know, I mean, even if you keep it for 5 to 10 years, the box, at least if you break down your system, you can put it back in the original, and, you know, you can store it on a shelf. You know, me, the way I'm gonna start storing mine is that I'm gonna, you know, if I put them back into the box and stuff, I'm gonna try to see if I can get a vacuum sealer and vacuum seal them into their boxes. So this way, it's taking the air out of the box, yes, but at least I know they're not going to be rusting, or they're, you know, moisture is not going to build up on them, for the simple fact that, you know, you took all the air out. So there, you know, it's just something I have in mind. You know, I don't know if it's really going to work or not, you know, but if you take all the air and moisture out of its surrounding, it should keep it nice and fresh. You know, and you put one of those silica gel packs in there too, that should keep all the moisture that would develop on the inside out of the inside. So remember those little silica gel packs. So, but anyway, now the fact of we got this cooler here, now we have to figure out, back to the flashlight, now we have to figure out which one is going to be for the CPU fan. Now, usually they have them marked. You know, they got up top here, because this is the tough board, they got a gray one and a black one. 9 out of 10 chances the gray one is going to be your number one. So that's important. That's important for the fact of when you go to boot your system, right? You want to make sure that when you boot your system, that it doesn't come up with errors when you first boot it up. So, and don't forget, when you put this Wraith cooler on, you have to take off the stands that they got on here, because these are usually used for a different type of heat sink. And don't lose these screws. Always keep these with the motherboard box. Always keep your parts with the motherboard box if you're taking parts off the motherboard, and so on. So usually that's the best thing to do. And guys, this isn't going to be a 20-minute video, because I'm not rushing through and I'm not jump cutting anything or anything else. I am doing this piece by piece. So this is not going to be a 20-minute video. I know you guys like the 20-minute videos, but when I do news talks and stuff like that, I'll do them at 20 minutes. But when it comes to builds and stuff like that, you really don't want to rush. You really don't want to rush, because once you start rushing, then you start making mistakes. You know, and like I told you, I'm keeping this raw, non-jump cut. It's what you see, A to Z, what I do completely through. So any mistakes or anything else, you all see it. You know, I just want to let you know that. Okay, there's two little sliders that are right here. In between those two sliders, there's a little lip right here that you want to add when you put this in, and you want to meet that together. Because if you don't, you put this in the wrong position, then your fan won't run right. So you got to make sure that this is positioned very carefully. And usually first time plugging stuff in, it's going to be a beast. So let me turn this upside down so I don't screw this up. And if you're doing this in the dark, make sure you got a flashlight. I don't want to make any mistakes. So I'm making sure that everything's going together correctly. So when I lock it down, it's locked down. So, and also too, I like doing it this way anyway. Okay, connecting this to the motherboard. This now lets me position this cord the way I want to position it. But I know with AMD, you gotta kind of find that sweet spot to where, you can see which way it's rolling. So it won't roll that way. So we're definitely going to have to put it on this way. And don't mess up this comes thermal pasted. So don't mess up the thermal paste trying to put this on. Make sure, because that back plate will fall. Okay. Make sure you can set this cooler right on top and evenly line it. And do it in a star pattern. Okay. Now, oh my goodness. Always back them out. The screws, always back them out a little bit until you feel that first little drop, then go forward. This way you're aligning the threads to the screw hole. Only turn it just a little bit. Come to the other side, put a little bit of pressure. Feel the drop. And then come in and align number 2. And if it doesn't align, then back up the first one. Back up the first one until the second one aligns. And if the second one's not aligning, back it up a little bit more till you get it aligned. And if it still won't align, then pick up the motherboard and push upwards. It's usually because the back plate falls. Usually because the back plate falls, then that happens. Okay, so now you get the first two aligned. You come over here, and then you work your third one. Let's see if I can see it right. Okay, so you work your third one, then you come over and work your fourth one. Till it just grabs. Don't worry, you're not going to break the motherboard if you push down on it. So, and then now you go in backwards motion. Just until it snugs down. Just until it snugs down. You don't want to snug it any further than that. You don't want to push any harder than that. Just until it snugs down. You don't want to strip your screws or anything else. So if you watch what I did was I went bam, 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 tighten. Once you get to this side, you should be able to tighten it all the way down, then come back to this one, then this one, then this one. Simple. Tightening is really simple, and you see, it's to the cooler. I was going to use this MX4, which I got right here, the MX4, but since it already has thermal paste on it, there's no sense in me putting the MX4 on it. That's just a waste of thermal paste. Pre-applied thermal paste should be right amount from these coolers to, set itself on top of the heat sink. But do remember, we're just doing this to run a test. We're just doing this to run a test. Make sure the motherboard is up and operational. So this way we can say that we got the first steps done. Now, actually, the first step of, we'll take care of the cords later, so I'm not really worried about the cords right now. But our first step was our power supply. To make sure our power supply was up and running, make sure that, the first two steps with the power supply is up and running. So we know we got power to the motherboard on the last video. So now we're going to bring the power to this board. This board, if you go to buy it, the B-550 Plus Wi-Fi 2, this motherboard is about $160, $170 if you buy the motherboard on Amazon. Now, if you go inside Micro Center and you get the Ryzen 5 5600X3D for $100 more, you can get this motherboard right here. $100 more. And this one comes with Wi-Fi. This comes with BIOS flashback. It's got onboard Ethernet. It's got Wi-Fi. It's got a 5-link audio system. It's got 4, 6. Well, it's actually got 4, 5, 7. It's got 7 USB 1s, and it's got a small little USB. Y'all know what one I'm talking about. And it's got display port, and it's got HDMI. This motherboard does not have. Remember the old connectors that they used for the PS2 to connect your keyboard and mouse? Those are gone. So, and the VGA, there's no VGA on this whatsoever. So you can't use VGA with it. You can't use the PS2 mouse and keyboard. Those functions have been taken away. So this is all a new up-to-date motherboard. Right now, I'm going to be running it with the Ryzen 5 5600G because I don't have, just yet, I don't have